professional documentary narrator with clear pronunciation and good pacing. The loudest confession can hide in a smudge, a detail almost everyone ignored. Late winter, a courthouse basement. An archivist slips on a pair of gloves. The crackle of a brittle envelope releases the scent of dust and old glue. Inside, a threatening letter reveals a single lazy typewriter key, one that wobbles slightly to the left. Suddenly, the search narrows from an entire city to one rented machine on a single block. These tiny artifacts don't shout, they nudge the map. A pale crescent of dust on the second stair, not the first, proves someone left in a hurry. They didn't arrive. The timeline shifts by mere minutes, and an alibi crumbles. What other parts of this famous story have been quietly turned upside down? One detective kept a pocket notebook he labeled corners, because the corners always matter. Today, cold case teams and independent researchers scan the margins with patient eyes. A simple receipt sewn into a coat lining can establish a timeline better than a dozen interviews. A single grain of pollen carried on a windsill draft can place a suspect in a specific room in late spring. Look again. Every overlooked detail can challenge motive, shift a sequence, and change where a story truly began. Next, we'll see what a miscataloged photograph and a stubborn window latch did to a locked room legend. So what makes a crucial fact disappear when it's hiding in plain sight? Late afternoon on the courthouse steps, a crowd of reporters pushes forward, boom mics brushing against cheeks. The air feels metallic under the hot lights. A clerk hurries past, his breath fogging the seal on a small evidence bag. This is how tunnel vision begins. The spectacle commands our attention, and the small, vital objects fade into the wallpaper. Under pressure, paperwork is shortened, gloves slip, a photograph is framed too wide to capture a crucial ridge on a fingerprint. The spotlight can blind as much as it illuminates.
And so, the loudest story wins, while a quiet detail waits for its turn. Re-examination moves slowly, like a careful hand reading Braille. Linguists analyze cadence, catching an idiom a suspect would never use. Digital imaging deepens shadows, pulling erased words from the page. Provenance work traces materials back to their source. Paper pulp to a specific mill, ink to a single batch, timber to a yard that stamped its beams at dawn. In one ransom note, a rough fiber seen under polarized light matched a regional paper mill, proving the page could not have been typed where the legend swore it was. The archivist learned this in that basement, when the smudge on the page spoke louder than any witness on a podium. What else is whispering, if we finally turn down the volume? The details decide. Today, truth is in a race with velocity. A headline can circle the globe before a lab has even warmed up its instruments. Old cameras missed the subtle pressure marks in a graphite pencil stroke. Newer enhancement software can coax them into view. Algorithms can suggest connections, but they cannot swear an oath. Patience becomes a civic duty. In a world built for speed, humility is our safeguard, because the first draft of a villain often leaves out the edges that matter most. These recovered details complicate the easy story. A confession's grammar suddenly sounds coached, not born of trauma. A sliver of wood from a window frame is traced not to the night of the crime, but to a post-arrest reconstruction. The motive shifts from malice to panic without erasing the harm. This is where ethics become critical. Tell the story clean, show your sources, resist the thrill of easy certainty. Method over myth. Because when these facts resurface, they don't erase the past, they refine it. And the next clue, waiting in the margins, will ask us to choose between the story we want and the story the evidence tells. Are you ready to follow it into the next room?